You guys ready? Hi guys, good morning. How is everybody today? Hopefully I have the issues worked out. I figured today was Daisy's day to say hello to everybody, but Miss Izzy over here is a little more needy than the other two and insisted she be included so she can sit here too for a little while. I'm really sorry about yesterday. I hope that today this is showing up in the right place. It should be in our daycare group, and hopefully it's in the right spot. Yesterday I found out relatively quickly that I was in the wrong spot because people were commenting that shouldn't have been seeing the video. I don't know if anyone's here, so give me a quick comment if you are. If nobody's here, I may just wait a few to start. I know it's kind of a bummer to come in the middle of a book. And because I had a snafu yesterday and I feel like I left you guys hanging, there may be less people here today to watch. What do you guys think? No? What do you think? So Daisy and Izzy have been keeping themselves pretty busy. Right, guys? Being cute, sitting on the couch, sleeping in different spots. And they've been doing good. They've been enjoying themselves, right, guys? How about you? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? Anything exciting? I know the weather's been bad. It's a little bit better today, but it's still kind of cloudy. It's still kind of chilly. I was outside this morning with the dogs taking a walk, and it still feels like winter. All right, well, let's get started. Our first book today is Stone Soup. We've actually read this very recently in daycare when we were talking about food, because it does mention lots of food since it's soup. All right, I'm going to have one of you guys get down now. Can you get down, Izzy? Go ahead. Oh, and there goes Daisy. All right. You going to stay down there? Or you want to come up? Izzy's the snuggle bum. If you want to come back up, it is your turn. Yeah, come here. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay, ready? Stone Soup. It's written by Christiane Jones and illustrated by Micah Chambers Goldberg. That means that Micah drew the pictures. After walking all day, a poor traveler came to a small town. He was tired and hungry. That does look like a small town, doesn't it? The traveler stopped at the first house. A strange old couple lived there. I've been traveling all day and I am very hungry. Do you have any food to spare? Asked the traveler. We do not have any food to spare. Try the next house, the old couple said. So the traveler walked to the next house. He tried the next house and the house after that. He knocked on every door in town. Not one person was willing to give him something to eat. Look at all those doors he knocked on. The traveler did not give up. He would find a way to get some food, just like you. You always find a way, don't you? In fact, he had a grand idea. The traveler yelled, "If no one has food to spare, I will make stone soup for everyone. All I need is a big pot and some water to get started." An old man brought a large pot. I think that's the biggest pot I've ever seen in my life. Do you have a pot this big at your house? I know I don't. A young boy fetched some water. A fire was started, and the water began to boil. Now I need a big stone, the traveler said, as the townspeople began to gather. They're thinking, what's going on over there? What's going on? A young girl ran over with a huge stone. The traveler said, this looks good, but it would be better if we had some carrots. Oh, I love carrots. I think they're my favorite. They're my favorite vegetable. A young woman brought some carrots. Into the pot they went. Perfect, said the traveler. If only we had some potatoes too. Ooh, I also love potatoes. What about you, Izzy? You love potatoes? Do you? I think Daisy loves potatoes too. A strong man hauled in a bag of potatoes. That's a lot of potatoes. They all went into the pot. One by one, the townspeople brought vegetables, onions, celery, peas, corn, beans. What's your favorite out of those? What's the matter, Izzy? When the soup was done, the townspeople could not believe their eyes. The soup that had started with one stone had become a huge feast for the entire town. Wow. Look at that. And the townspeople ate until they were full, even the poor traveler. That's Izzy. She wants to be back on my lap. How did they get such a big soup? Especially when the traveler had no food. They ended up making such a big soup for everybody. How'd that happen? The end. I think I might need to switch doggies because someone's being a menace. You want to get down, Daisy? All right. You want to get down. You want to come up. It's perfect. Hi. All right. Izzy's going to read Curious George with us. Hi. Curious George. No. Whoops, wrong way. Who's this guy? Who's this guy right here? That's Curious George, right? Do you guys ever watch the TV show Curious George? Curious George is by H.A. Ray. Look at him. This was an old book. It was written in 1941. Wow, that was a long time ago. Let's see. Okay. This is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George saw a man. Izzy's in my way. He had a large yellow straw hat. The man saw George too. What are you doing? Here, let's get down. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. He put his large hat on the ground. And of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and he put it on. The hat covered George's head. He couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. He doesn't look very happy there, does he? I'm not seeing any comments, so I'm wondering if Somehow comments were disabled today. It's another thing for me to try to figure out for tomorrow. The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and the sailor rolled them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. Where are they going? They're going to that big ship. On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag. George sat on a little stool, and the man said, "George, I'm going to take you to a big zoo in a big city. You will like it there. Now run along and play, but don't get into trouble." George promised to be good, but it was not easy for little monkeys. It is easy for little monkeys to forget. I think he forgot that he promised to be good. What do you think? I'm trying to get closer so you guys can see the pictures while I'm reading. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but what do you think is going to happen? He's going to try and fly. Do you think he can fly? Oh, what happened? First this, and then this. Where is George? The sailors looked and looked. At last they saw him, struggling in the water and almost all tired out. Look, he's way down there. Good thing he can swim. "Man overboard!" the sailors cried as they threw him a life belt. George caught it and held on. At last, he was safe on board. Look, they pulled him up right out of the water. Now he's safe. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship and onto the shore and into the city to the man's house. He's getting off the boat now, saying bye. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired. Look, he's got jammies on. The little jammies look like they fit. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. And then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, what fun! He's making a phone call. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling! George had telephoned the fire station. The firemen rushed to the telephone. "Hello, hello," they said. But there was no answer. When they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from, they didn't know it was George. They thought it was a real fire. Uh-oh. They thought there was a real fire. They didn't know it was a monkey making a phone call. "Hurry, hurry!" The firemen jumped into the fire engines and on to the hook and ladders. Ding dong, ding dong, everyone out of the way. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Hey, the fire trucks have to go fast. Have you ever seen a real fire truck? With their lights on and the siren on. They have to go there really fast. The firemen rushed into the house. They opened the door. No fire. Only a naughty little monkey. "Oh, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught in the telephone wire. And what's telephone wire? You guys don't even know what that is. He got all tangled up. A fireman caught one arm and another fireman caught the other. You fooled the fire department, they said. We will have to shut you up or you can't do any more harm. They took him away and shut him in prison. Oh no. Look at George. How does he look? He doesn't look very happy, does he? Poor George. George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then the watchman came in. He got on the wooden bed to catch George, but he was too big and heavy. The bed tipped up, the watchman fell over, and as quick as lightning, George ran out through the open door. Whoa, George is smart. Look at that. He ran right out that door. This reminds me of our seesaw in the backyard when you guys all like to stand on it. Except it's never tipped over like that. He hurried through the building and out onto the roof, and then he was lucky to be a monkey. Out he walked on the telephone wires, quickly and quietly, over the guard's head. George walked away. He was free. Wow, that's something we couldn't do, walk on wires like that. Who else was up on the roof? Do you see someone else up there? Down in the street, outside the prison wall, stood a balloon man. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. He felt he must have a bright red balloon. Can we see it okay? He reached over and tried to help himself, but he's going to try and help himself to a balloon. What do you think's going to happen? Which balloon would you pick? I think I'd pick a blue one. Instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. I don't know why I keep holding it tilted. The whole bunch broke loose. In an instant, the wind whisked them all away, and with them went George, holding tight with both hands. What's he doing? Look, kind of looks like our George on the wall right now, doesn't it? Looks like our George. Up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses, and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. Wow, that's a high view of the city, isn't it? See all the people down there? And all the houses? At first, the wind blew in great gusts. Then it quieted. Finally, it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down, down he went, bump, onto the top of a traffic light. Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up. George didn't know what to do. And then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down and saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. Look, there he is. Can you see him? The man with the big yellow hat. He saw George. George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons, and then George and the man climbed into the car, and at last, away they went. I got all the balloons. Look at them driving in the car with all the balloons. to the zoo. What a nice place for George to live. The end. What'd you think? Did you like it? George at the zoo? So guess what our books are going to be tomorrow? Tomorrow we are going to read Froggy Bakes a Cake. This is another one that we've been reading very recently. And we're also going to read Curious George Visits the Zoo. So we'll see more zoos. I really miss the comments. I'm guessing that you guys aren't able to comment. And that's why there aren't any. I don't know why, but hopefully at least we're in the right group today. So you guys have a good day today. I hope to see you back tomorrow and have the comments up and running because it's much more fun when I can see you and you guys can talk to me a little bit. I miss you and I will see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye. Izzy, say bye.